Hi everybody, welcome back to 12 Acres. Today we are going to do some pumpkin canning. I have these pumpkins that we grew in the garden. I believe these are sugar pie pumpkins is what they were called. They're all about this size, so they're not super big, but these are supposed to be pie pumpkins. What I'm going to do is can the puree so that it'll be ready to make pumpkin pies, but it won't have all the spices and things like that in it just yet. But we're going to rinse these off real quick because a couple of them are a little bit dirty from the garden still. So I'm going to give them a good rinse. We're going to cut them, lay them out on a pan, and then bake them. And I'll show you the process for doing that. Rinsed and ready to go. So next is to remove these stems, and then we'll cut the pumpkins in half. And I'm going to show you a really cool trick for taking these stems off. Okay, so I'm going to use the edge of the table, and it doesn't have to have the towel on it or the tablecloth or anything. It can be bare wood, whatever. And you're just going to hit this really hard on the edge of the table, and it's going to go flying. It's pretty awesome. See that? Very cool. There we go. Alright, so it's cut in half, and then I will scoop out all of the seeds and the pulp that are in here. I will be saving these because I will do roasted pumpkin seeds later today or tomorrow, so I'll bag them up and save them. So I'm going to do that with all of these. Alright, I've got all 10 halves seeded, and here are all of the seeds and some of that pulpy stuff. I cannot believe how many seeds are in one little pumpkin. It's amazing. So this is going to be a delicious treat, but for now I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on it and put it in the refrigerator until I am ready to actually tackle that project. So hopefully today or tomorrow I will make some roasted pumpkin seeds for the kids. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in the oven at 400 degrees, and they will cook for anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes. The time fluctuation there is due to the fact that it's going to depend on how big your pumpkins are. So at 30 minutes I will begin checking them, and what you're going to look for is for the skin to look cooked and kind of crispy and peely. And you want the flesh to be very soft. So you can actually poke it with a fork, and if it goes in super easy, then you know it's done. But the main thing will be to look for, first of all, the skin to be looking like it is a darker color, and it'll be kind of crispy and peeling looking. And then as long as it's soft, then it's ready to go. But I will start checking at 30 minutes, and like I said, it could get anywhere up to an hour. It has been 30 minutes, and you can see the skin is starting to look a little bit darker, but not much. It is starting to get soft. Oh yeah, definitely starting to get soft. I would probably give it, it's a little firm. I'm going to give it 10 more minutes and check it again. It has been about 50 minutes, and they are definitely done. Super soft and easy to poke. Even these are little, you can see how the skin is starting to get dry, which is fine. So I've pulled them out of the oven, but they are still super, super hot. I'm going to let them cool off almost all the way before I handle them. So here I'm just scooping out the pumpkin, and you want to make sure you get as close to the skin as possible so you can get as much pumpkin out as you can. Alright, I've got all the pumpkins scraped out. I've got the skin that will go to the pit, or the chickens. Chickens will love that. And now I'm going to run these through the food processor to get them nice and smooth.
Because this was so thick, I found I kept having to stop it and stir, and then go again, and then stop and stir and go again, in order to get it all a smooth consistency. Now I'm ready to put it in my clean and sterilized pint-sized jars.
Now, do you see how these all have air bubbles in them? So you want to run either the tool that comes with the set, which I don't have at the moment, or you can use like a plastic knife. And you're just going to run it down all around the sides, and it's just to kind of break those air bubbles up and to get rid of them, because air bubbles are your enemy. They could prevent your jar from sealing properly, and we don't want that. Okay, now I have dampened a paper towel with some vinegar, and I'm just going to wipe the rims of the jars to make sure that there's no food, sediment, or anything like that that could hinder a good seal. Next, we'll put the lids on.
I simmered the lids in a saucepan with water just for a few minutes, just to get them ready, and also to make sure that they're sanitized as well.
Gently screw on the rings. And you don't want to go too tight, just what they call finger tight. So we're not going to crank it down or anything. Next, we'll be placing them down inside of our canner. I've got about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water in the bottom, and I will be putting all of the jars in the canner. I ended up with 7 pints. Actually 8, because I put one in the refrigerator to make an actual pie out of tomorrow, because we are coming up on Thanksgiving and I want to try out this pumpkin puree on a pie. So I've got 7 pints in here, and this will slowly come to temperature now. Since these were not hot, I had let the pumpkin puree cool, so this is not considered a hot pack. So you don't want to have the water already boiling in here or anything like that. It's just, I've just had it on low, like on simmer, just to make the water a little bit hot, but I certainly didn't want to shock the jars by placing them into boiling hot water. So now I will start turning the heat up, and of course I'm going to put the lid on and start watching the temperature and the pressure at that.
After allowing the steam to vent for a few minutes out of my open vent, then I close it, and at that point you will start watching your pressure gauge go up. Once the pressure has reached 10 pounds, then you'll set your timer, and in my case, since I'm doing pints, we're going to go for 60 minutes.
Okay, it has been a full 60 minutes. I'm going to shut the stove off, and then I'm going to let this sit here. We do not want to open the pressure vent or the lid or anything. We're going to let this come back down to 0 on its own before we open it.
Now this is all very hot still, so be careful with the steam. And then gently remove them, keeping them upright the entire time, and allow them to fully cool on your countertop for at least a day before putting them away. As long as all of the lids sealed properly, these should be shelf stable for at least a year. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.